What's good, YouTube? My name is Coach, and in this video today we're going to be talking about a deck that I'm in the process of building. As you can see, none of these cards are sleeved, and that deck is going to be Shadrix Silverquill. So before I start the video, I just want to remind all of you that we're doing giveaways on this channel now. So if you like, comment, and subscribe onto this channel, you're going to be entered into a giveaway. And by the end of the week, I'm going to do a raffle, and whoever wins is going to get potentially a legendary creature like these two, one of them sent to your house. Okay, so all you need to do is like and subscribe. All right, so we have Shadrix here, right? So let's take a look at Shadrix. Shadrix says he has flying, it's a dragon. I really like dragons. He has flying and double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose two. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. So, at the beginning of combat, I have to choose 2 of those choices, I suppose. So, I'm either going to have someone draw a card, lose a life, create a token, or they get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. So what I was thinking of with this deck was controlling combat. If I give my opponent a +1/+1 counter on all their creatures, is it going to matter to me? If I give my opponent a 2/1 flying creature, is that going to matter to me? If I let them draw a card, is that going to matter to me? So this deck is all about controlling combat with cards so that I keep my opponents from attacking me, and because they're not attacking me, I can build some sort of advantage from them being free from attacking me. So first cards we're going to go over here are, first of all, we have this inkling token here. That 2/1 token that they're referring to is this one, just so you're aware. So first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to imagine that we need to play cards that are going to allow us to control combat, or at least give us an advantage in combat. So these are mainly the cards that I'm going to be using here. And mind you, if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment section below. That's the reason why I'm making this video, because the reality is I'm not a good Magic the Gathering deck builder, and I would appreciate the advice of other people. So we have Valor here. This card says, as long as Valor is in your graveyard, creatures you control have first strike. So all of my creatures would gain first strike, and I think in a deck built around combat, that might be kind of important. The Instigator. Discard a card from your hand. Creatures target player controls attack this turn if able. So I can force my opponents to attack. This one says, sacrifice a creature. Target creature can't attack this turn. This one says, whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature, put a 1/1 counter, put a 1/1 flying spirit onto the battlefield when a creature is destroyed that way. We have Souls of the Faultless. Whenever Souls of the Faultless is dealt combat damage, you gain that much life, and attacking player loses that much life. Mind you, this card right here is a 0/4. This deck has the ability to put +1/+1 counters on creatures. So when you look at their power and toughness, generally it's going to be more than that if they're in play. We have the Droning Bureaucrats. This says you pay a certain amount of mana. Each creature with converted mana cost X can't attack or block this turn. High Ground. Each creature you control can block an additional creature. Revenge of Ravens. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's control loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is Fight or Flight. At the beginning of each opponent's combat phase, separate all creatures that player controls into 2 face-up piles. Only creatures in the pile of his or her choice may attack that turn. Defensive Formation. Instead of the attacking player, you choose how creatures attacking you deal combat damage. Whenever a creature attacking you or a planeswalker you control, whenever a creature attacks you, this is basically the other card. That controller loses 1 life. So they lose life for attacking me. So incentivizing them not to attack me. So because they may not be attacking me, we're going to be playing around these cards as well. So with this deck, there's a minor sub-theme of gaining life. So we have the Suture Priest. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain 1 life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you may have that player lose 1 life. I can pay 3 mana, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. There are a lot of enchantments inside this deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, deal 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. During your upkeep, each opponent loses 1 life, gain 1 life for each 1 life lost this way. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. So we have 1 shrine, that's 1, this is 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card for each shrine you control. This is shrine number 3. Tap target creature, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. And then this one here says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life for each shrine you control. So that's a total of 4 shrines. And we're also running Grim Guardian. Grim Guardian enters the battlefield, or an enchantment enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses 1 life. And then the Coinsmith essentially does the same thing. Enchantment enters the battlefield, but I gain 1 life. And then I can pay a white and a black and 1 life, and then each opponent will lose 1 life. Okay, so that's gaining advantage off of them dealing no combat damage. We also need to draw cards. Mind you, our commander allows us to draw cards. So essentially with our commander, if he's in play, we may be drawing 2 cards every single turn. And then we may draw 3 if we have the Monarch. So this card gives us the Monarch, so we draw a card at the beginning of our end step. This card says whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, investigate, which gives you a token that you can sacrifice for 2 mana to draw a card. We have the Court of Grace, which gives us Monarch. Archon of Coronation, which gives us the Monarch. We have the Cosmos Elixir, so if our life total is greater than our starting life total, and our end step, we draw a card. Okay. I have more cards that give Monarch. I may put more cards that give Monarch inside this deck now that I think about it. And then we're running a +1/+1 counter theme just because our commander gives us the ability to buff our creatures. So if we're able to create many, let's say 2 or 3 Inklings, and then I choose Shadrix's ability to buff all my creatures by 1, now instead of attacking for 6 damage, I'm attacking for 9. And, you know, that just continues to grow from there, right? These 2/1 creatures here, 2/1 flyers are pretty decent. This is a 2/2 flyer. This is a Breathless Knight. Listen, the only reason this card's in this deck is because he just has flying and lifelink. He costs 3 mana. He's a 2/2 for now, but if he gets counters on it, if this turns into a 4/4 or a 5/5 of flying lifelink, this ends up being a pretty good card. We have Feast on the Fallen. At the beginning of each upkeep, if an opponent lost life last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. We have Felisa, the Fang of Silverquill. If a non-token creature I control dies, I put X 2/1 white and black Inkling creature tokens onto the battlefield with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. Pretty cool. And then we're running the Shadewing. It's flying. Whenever another creature you control with flying dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then the Constable of the Realm. This card wins games. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this, you exile another non-land permanent until this leaves the battlefield. And that's pretty much the deck here. I'm really looking for, potentially there are more Monarch cards that I could play. Maybe there are better cards that allow me to control combat. Maybe there are more cards that allow me to just deter my opponents from attacking me. So if you have any suggestions, you can leave it in the comment section below. But that's Shadrix Silverquill. When this deck is completed, I'll create a deck list on Tapped Out, and I'll create a video talking about the finished product, and then we'll just go through it that way. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the future, alright? Peace.